What's up? Welcome to the Root Within podcast and video blog. I'm coming to you from my office, and this is what it looks like on a daily basis. So, anyway, the Root Within podcast, I wanted to start because I wanted to talk all things life, good nutrition, and just reaching your vision, your goal in life. I am Jessica. I am your host, if you want to call it that. I don't know. I don't really think myself as a host, just more somebody that's just guiding the conversation to whatever you guys want to talk about. So I wanted to give a little bit of background on myself today, just so you can get an idea of where I'm coming from, things that I've done in my life, things I haven't done in my life. And this is not like a brag, hey, look at me, because let's be honest, I'm not like, don't think that I'm extraordinary. But I do have a different voice, and that's what I want to bring to you all. So just real basic. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and I have lived here all my life. I live currently about 10 minutes from the house that I grew up in, 5 minutes from the house I lived in elementary school in, and 10 minutes from the house I went to high school in. My husband also was born and raised here in St. Louis. He was raised about 10 minutes away from us. So we have really stayed local, with the exception of me going to college in Springfield for about a year and a half. I have lived in Jefferson County, Missouri my entire life. And I'm pretty dang proud of it. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about where I live, and I'm not here to break those misconceptions. I'm just here to say that I am someone that lives here, and this is where my roots are. So with that backstory, I really want to start my food, nutrition, weight loss, whatever journey you want to call that, my story in middle school. And my story starts with developing quite a bit faster than anyone else developed. There were a few other girls, but I certainly developed quite a bit faster. And because of that, 7th grade was a rough year. I was made fun of a lot. I was told that I stuffed my bra, which I have never done and never needed to do. And for those that needed to do that, I'm really sorry. It sucks, I'm sure, but hopefully you still don't do that. And if you do, that's a deeper conversation we need to have. But nonetheless, that's where my self-consciousness really started. And that one group of boys, man, I swear, they were horrible to me. What's funny is my husband is semi-friends with those people. Not that we hang out or anything, but that's a side squirrel moment. If you listen to the podcast ongoing, I will have a lot of squirrel moments, just the way my brain works. But so middle school, yes, I developed a lot faster than others. And I also had a cousin that was about a year and a half younger than me. And while she got to still shop at like Limited Too because she was a stick figure, I was now shopping in the junior section, and because I was a size 11, and I was pretty self-conscious about that. Nobody ever in my family ridiculed me, or I don't even think anybody ever actually compared me to her. But nonetheless, I mean, I did myself, and that was tough to see her in a different size, and I couldn't be that small. I just couldn't. My favorite food in middle school and high school growing up was Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That I probably had that 4 days a week. And it's a funny story. I was actually telling someone the other day, we were talking about Pop-Tarts, and I was like, oh, I grew up on Pop-Tarts. Like, that's what we ate because it was convenient and it was fast and we could do it ourselves. because both my parents worked. So they're like, oh yeah, what was your favorite Pop-Tart? And I'm like, strawberry burnt ends with butter. And they're like, what? You put butter on your Pop-Tarts? I'm like, you don't put butter on your Pop-Tarts? Yeah, that's what we did. So when you think back, and I think back to like, okay, I ate Pop-Tarts probably 3 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week. I ate Cinnamon Toast Crunch the other days. No wonder why I had self-conscious issues with middle school, because good night, I was not getting the right stuff in. But I didn't know any different. And my mom, I don't know that it's not that my mom and dad didn't know any different. I think they did. It was just a convenience factor. Both my parents worked, and I was getting myself up. I was getting myself to the bus stop. If grandma picked us up one day from school, which happened quite a bit, we went to McDonald's. And good night, I used to love the orange soda at McDonald's. Oh, and now just like the thought of it makes me so sick. But that's how I grew up. Middle school on into high school until I started driving myself, Grandma picked us up and went to McDonald's. I actually asked my grandma the other day, I'm like, how much do you think between my lifetime and my brother's that you spent at McDonald's? And she's like, oh, I think it's as much as you think. And I'm like, I bet you it's close to 10 grand grandma spent at McDonald's on us, over a 10-year period at least. But that's where we were. That was our life, I grew up in what I call the convenient era. And that's where everything had to be convenient. It had to be fast. It came from a box. It came from a can. My mom didn't really home make anything. She just didn't have time. She worked. So when I got to high school, nothing really changed there food-wise. I don't know that if I didn't understand food at that point, other than like just what tasted good. I didn't understand what good food was, what foods I needed to put in my body or anything like that. Do I think it would have changed high school? Probably not. But I just didn't know. It wasn't a skill that I was wanting to learn at that point. So, I continued with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, with the Pop-Tarts, with McDonald's, with Lion's Choice. My taste changed for McDonald's when I got to high school. Grandma started taking me to Lion's Choice, which I loved Lion's Choice, and still do. Can't even tell you the last time I had Lion's Choice, but I bet you if I did, it would be amazing. So anyway, high school wasn't really any different. Still self-conscious about my weight. I'm pretty sure I was a size 11 from 7th grade on up to junior year, maybe. My sophomore year? 2001. So whatever that was, 18 years ago. Is that what it was? Yeah. 2001, in the winter, a couple days before Thanksgiving that year, I was in a accident, and I've been told not to call it a car accident by my husband. He always says, don't call it a car accident. You weren't in a car. And I'm like, well, a car hit me. Just because I wasn't in a car doesn't mean, it wasn't a car accident. But I was in an accident where I was walking across the highway. I had stopped to help someone that got run off the road and, made sure she was okay, and went to cross back over the highway, and I got hit by a car. And I don't remember a whole lot other than waking up and I was under the tailpipe of the van. And I wanted to get up. So for anybody that believes that shock isn't a real thing, it is. Because I literally had bones sticking out of my leg, apparently. I don't remember that. but I have bones sticking out of my leg, and I was like, "No, I can get up, I'm good." And my friends were like, "No, honey, you can't get up." So during that time, during recovery, obviously I wasn't able to do a whole lot, walking around, moving, things like that, but I sure continued to eat. So I naturally put on weight then, but I didn't really understand how to get it off, nor did I really understand good food at that time. And, kudos to my parents. They were just trying to get me to eat and stay alive. Um, and make sure that like my basic needs were taken care of. So nobody was really worried about food. They were more worried about, is Jessica going to be able to walk? And it wasn't any serious car accident like that, like paralyzed or anything like that. It was just, I had some broken bones in a leg, and I had to go to physical therapy, and I had to work through things. And so it was just, is she going to be able to function the way she did? And knock on wood, I do. I function pretty well. So anyway, I put on weight in high school because of the accident, and had the hardest time taking it off. And never, through the end of high school, I don't think I ever really focused on taking it off. I just, kind of existed at that point. So going into college, I did 2 years of college here locally in St. Louis. I had what's called the A+ program here in St. Louis, and you do certain things, tutoring, and have a certain GPA and all that kind of stuff, and you get 2 years of community college for free. So being the oldest of two, my parents were like, "Yep, you're definitely doing that. So it'll save us on college tuition." So I did that, and the 2 years that I spent here weren't really all that different than high school, other than I could drive and I had a different curfew. So things weren't really all that different, and they certainly weren't different eating. I ate out a lot more. I had a job, so I had money, and I could go out to eat with friends and do all that kind of stuff. So I did, and I never really paid attention to food and good food and anything like that. I did go away to college for about a year and a half. I went to Missouri State, and I finished my bachelor's degree there. And I started really focusing on working out when I got there. I lived in a co-ed dorm my first semester, and I had a couple of guys that were into fitness and working out and things like that. And my nature is to always be like the boys, or be better than the boys, actually. So I would work out with them, and lift weights and run and do all those kind of things. So I did that for the first semester. I lived in the dorms, and then I moved into my sorority house in college. And that was, again, a whole different experience. I lived with like 30 something girls, or women, I should say. I lived with 30 something women. And I had a few friends, and we'd walk and work out and things like that, but nothing too serious. And we still certainly were not getting good, nutritious food. I mean, we were getting food that they have to feed to the masses because that's what's cheap and easy and convenient. You can't really be like sauteing up all these vegetables when you are feeding 30 something women. It just doesn't work. So again, food was never good food, healthy food. That was just never on my radar at that point. And even getting married, I got married right out of college. My husband and I, he didn't go to college, but we dated while I was away at Missouri State. And so we got married about a year after college. I think I graduated December of 2016, I think. And then we got married in October 2017. So not long at all. And we both brought much different perspectives of food to the marriage. As I said, I grew up in what I call the convenience era, where everything came from a box or a can. Nothing was ever really homemade. Things were quick and fast and easy. And if we could cook it in the microwave, we did, because that's what was easy. And he didn't come from that era. Same time frame, sure, we're the same age. We actually graduated high school together. No, we did not date in high school. But he grew up with parents that were 15 to 20 years older than my parents. So he's the last of three, and I'm the first of two. So we grew up very differently, and he grew up with a mom that stayed home and made his meals. And, breakfast wasn't cereal, breakfast wasn't Pop Tarts. I don't even know if the guy ever had a Pop Tart in his life. Maybe he has. I don't know. Certainly, he's never shown me he's had a Pop Tart. Barely eats toast. So, toast was never a meal. Like at my house, toast was a meal. At his house, I don't know that toast was a meal. So anyway, we came with two very different perspectives on what food was and what good food was. So as we started out in our marriage, he started teaching me how to cook. And that's really where I started to fall in love with food. And I fell in love with things like fried potatoes and bacon and eggs and biscuits and gravy and like the gravy where you make it with the bacon grease. And that's honestly, y'all, that's the only way to make gravy. But nonetheless, that's not great for you. But fell in love with, I always did love pasta. And I loved fettuccine Alfredo, but so did he. So we started eating that more, and we started eating pasta more, and started having all these yummy, good foods that we loved. But the weight started to come on for me. For him, it didn't come on because he had a very physical job. He's a construction laborer, and at that point, he was doing concrete work. And so he could get out and sweat out everything that he possibly ate that day and have no issue. And for me, that wasn't the case. I had a desk job. So, and I wasn't working out. I wasn't staying active. So those pounds just came on quicker and quicker and quicker. And, as they did, people were telling me, oh, it just means you're so happy. You're in love. Like I remember one of my aunts saying that specifically, like, oh, you're just so happy you're in love because you're gaining weight. No, come on now. I'm not happy. I'm in love, but I'm not happy. This is not working. I am putting way too much weight on. So as time went on, and I didn't really know what good food was, so I just kept eating the way I wanted to, all the pounds came on. And I got to my absolute highest. And I remember working at my craft table in the basement of our house. We lived in an apartment for a year and then we moved to our house. But I was working at my craft table downstairs, and my husband had like snapped a picture on the first ever iPhone, I think. And I looked at it and it was rough. It was the biggest I'd ever been in my life. And I hated it. I hated the way it made me feel. I hated the way I looked. I hated it. And I went through, I would say probably about a depression about it. And in early 2011, I believe, I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this. And I started to look for help to get the weight off. And I found it in so many things, and you'll learn more about my weight loss journey as I share it. I think I'm going to share that next week with you all. But that was tough. To even now to think back on that picture and be like, gosh, when was that my heaviest? And I'm like, oh, that picture of me in the basement was atrocious. And I bet that picture is down, I think actually, I think it got printed, or maybe it was taken on the camera. I don't really know. But that picture may be downstairs. I might pull it out for you all one day. But it that started the journey to finding the right nutrition, started to find the right diet, all that kind of stuff. And 2011 to 2019, 8 years, and I'm just now figuring it out is rough. But it's good to see and remember where you started. And that's my story. That's where I started. The subconscious stuff, it started in middle school, just like it did for any other 13-year-old girl. It starts there, and you start comparing yourself. And as you become an adult, and as a, whatever I am, 34-year-old woman, you still do compare yourself in some ways. In other ways, I say, screw it. I am who I am, and this is my life, and I'll do what I want to do. And I will, my arms will be as big as I want them. And I don't know if I'll ever have a 6-pack. I have a 2-pack. I'm excited about my 2-pack. But that's about it right now. I don't think I'll have a 6-pack because I like food too much, and I find the right balance for me. And that's where I am. And it takes a while to get your mind around that, wrap your mind around the fact that, you have to be okay with it. You got to give yourself grace. You got to be okay with it. You never stop reaching your goal, trying to reach your goals, and pushing and working towards that. But you give yourself some acceptance and some grace at times. So that's my story. That's what I wanted to share with you. What I want to say is that wherever you've been doesn't matter anymore. Like, you've been there, that's great. It only matters where you're going. So while my story's great, you understand who I am, none of it matters. What matters is where I'm going. So take the good from your story, the lessons you've learned, the things you will never do again. And those are good stories I didn't share. But anyway, and use those to drive you to living a more fulfilled life. There are some exciting things coming up on the podcast. My blog, social media, everything. A lot of stuff coming up. But ultimately, I just want to be that voice for you that says, hey, why not try this? Or, hey, think about this differently. I may not be the right voice for you. I can help you find that voice. But that's all. I just want to be that voice for you. And I want to expose you to different foods that are good for you, and just open your eyes to new possibilities. So let the past be the past. It's your story. It got you to this point. Now write a new story. And don't be afraid to ask questions or ask for help. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. And remember, you get one body. You get one go around with this life. Live for yourself and eat to live.